Hey there, do you know most of the OpenClaw errors are self-inflicted, which means it actually causes its own errors and then it also tries to fix itself. So let us see how is this possible. So now I'll open my command shell and let's see how we can actually do this. So let's see at the first. So if I go at the top, see as we can see, we have to first check what is the version of our OpenClaw. Okay, it is showing the current version, and then we have to run the gateway. So after it runs the gateway, it is saying that it is failing to start because the gateway is already running at some port ID. So what it actually means is that when we are trying to run a gateway service on any WSL2 system on Linux, this is basically your Linux software. So whenever we are trying to run WSL2 on Linux, it doesn't have a system MD by default. Okay, so what is actually system MD? So system MD is nothing but it's a default system and service manager for most modern Linux distributions. So unfortunately, WSL2 doesn't support it. So that's why we are failing for running this. So if we run this server, we can run the gateway manually, but it's not an issue. Why? Because already there is a port in use, so we don't need to run the gateway server again. We can just kill the process here. See, since our system MD can't manage it, so we have to stop it manually by killing the processes which are actually being used here. So now, after you check this, we have to actually see that whether our gateway is actually healthy or not. Okay, it's already running, but we have to check it if it's working healthy or not. For this, we run a curl command. Okay, so why this curl command is basically giving us a HTML file here. So what is the reason for giving this is because see, as we can see that whenever we were expecting API response like JSON, it means that there is a missing required headers. Okay, so if they are missing, then the server may return an HTML error page instead of JSON. So this is the error, and it's actually an error of OpenClaw control. Okay, but now we are actually also running another curl command, which is of the same service, the same server, and then it's checking for HTML request that is it fetching the headers only or not. So instead of downloading the full HTML body, this curl sends the header of the HTTP request. Okay, so if you get the 200 okay, it means it's a success. If you get a 301 or 302, it's a redirect. If you get a 403, it's a forbidden, and 500 means server error. So currently our server is success. The status code is success. Okay. So if it's an API, we did expect a application JSON, but it returned a HTML file here. So after this, we have to just check our OpenClaw dashboard, and this is a dashboard URL. Okay, so we need to just copy this and let's paste it here to check whether it's actually working or not. So yeah, it's actually working since our health is also okay. So the gateway server is also running. Fine. Now, after this, we'll just try to run a command. Let me scroll down, which is of uh, yeah. So basically, let's scroll down and let's run this command of calling our agent using message. So this is the command, which is OpenClaw agent main, and we are messaging this here. Okay, so what it basically means is that we want our OpenClaw to repeat our task forever and count our steps till infinity. And it's showing that it cannot execute an infinite loop without a termination condition. So why is that happening? Because the agent loop is a structured cycle. Okay, it takes our input and infers our intent and executes the tools or models. But unfortunately, its agent architecture cannot execute an open-ended infinite task. So they would never reach a final answer or end state. They could never return control with a valid result. So that's why we need to add something it is asking to give us something finite or specific to do. So for that reason, I gave this command of counting steps from 1 to 5 and then replying done. So what happened is that the agent saw a well-defined task. So it has an instruction from start to end. Okay, you need to give an instruction from start to end, just like your Python, where you give the range of your input from starting to ending, and you can add a step size. Okay, after this, this will terminate here. Okay, and now when we run the status, we can see that the status is good. Telegram is on. Diagnosis is also good. So as we can see, the diagnosis is also good, and we can see that here. So we can see that the gateway token is not matching with the local remote token, which means it is connecting to fail. Okay, and also the web fetch is not enabled here. That's why it's showing as a fail. When you can easily enable this, when you actually go to this, you'll have an option of web fetch as well. You can easily enable this here. Let me find it in the tools. So as we can see, we can just see here, and we can enable our web search. Okay, so in this we can add your web search query here, web fetch. Okay, so yeah, it's already enabled, but it's failing to fetch here. So that's the reason. And why it's the web fetch is failing to fetch. Okay, what's the reason for web fetch to fail? So the reason for web fetch to fail is that basically whenever we are running this query of gateway, so it's actually showing that the curl has worked, but it's not a network failure. But we are running on WSL2, right? So WSL2 failure is almost certainly because of DNS resolution. They are most common in WSL2. So that's why they fail here. And then IPv6 network also sometimes can break the IPv6 routing. Okay, so that's why if even sometimes if there are any certificate handling differences, we get this thing. So OpenClaw is designed smartly. If tool web fetch fails, it can use tools like execute and then run the curl and return the result. For that, I ran the doctor fix command here. Then it has fixed the issues. And this is something you can ignore it, okay? This is like the system ST1 is like currently the WSL 2 doesn't support this. So that's why we can ignore this here for now. But except that we have fixed everything here, okay? So these are some of the errors and how we can debug it. And also I can show you another method through which you can intentionally add an error. Okay, if you actually want to check anything, you can intentionally add something here. So now let me just open a file. Okay, let's go to the top. You can add an error file here. Okay, you can just add an error file intentionally and you can check it how it works here. Okay, so let us scroll to the top and then let's execute this. So let me scroll to the bottom. Okay, and then let's run this. So yeah, so currently this has been tried out, but I have the command here. I have the script file here. Okay, so let me go here and then this is our script file. Okay, so this is our script file, and then you can see the schema is only string. Okay, this is a wrong one here. Why? Because we have not defined a certain URL for our script.js file, right? If we want to fetch the URL, then we have to define like what kind of URL is it, along with why is it like showing fetching bad. So if you want to fix this, then you have to fix this whole script, and then you can run accordingly here. This is also one of the way you can make for error handling. This is not recommended actually, but you can make if you want to make some changes. But I think these are some of the most important commands to run to check whether your gateway service is running. Also, whether your chats are terminating uh, at a certain time or not. So these are some of the basic prerequisites to run before you debug your actual OpenClaw. Okay, so these are some of the fixes you can do here, and you can also see your status. So that's all from my side. Thank you.